5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
This is the Mixed-Plate Podcast featuring your host and my dad, Brian BDubs Williams.
It's the Mixed-Plate Podcast.
We gon' walk that walk. We gon' talk that talk. We gon' talk that talk. We gon' walk that walk. Mixed-Plate, 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 Mixed-Plate. We gon' walk that walk. We gon' talk that talk. We gon' talk that talk. We gon' walk that walk. Mixed-Plate, 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 Mixed-Plate. Yeah. Talk sports, talk life, talk God. That's right. Talk sports, talk life, talk God. That's right. Yeah. Cooking up facts about that barbecue. Hey, beat up, got that vibe. This podcast for you.
It's the Mixed-Plate Podcast.
Welcome into the Mixed-Plate Podcast. I am your host, Brian BDubs Williams. Thank you for taking some time out and joining us for episode 3 and the home of the champs. That's right, the Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. Real quick before we get into the dry rub, make sure to download, subscribe, listen, share, stream, interact, and rate all on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, the Mixed-Plate Podcast. And also make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But now, let's get right into it, the dry rub.
The dry rub. You gotta season your meats.
Well, guys, leading up to Super Bowl Sunday, I had to put a self-imposed ban on myself in regards to sports talk media. Those that know me know that I love my sports talk radio. Usually start off the day with Fesco in the morning. I'll flip to the DA show nationally. I'll pick and choose some spots here and there, and then usually go to Dan Lebitard's show nationally. I'll also pop in a little bit of Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, and maybe a little First Take as well. But it had gotten so ridiculous leading up to Super Bowl Sunday. I think on Monday or Tuesday, I had just stopped watching when people were running out of ideas. They were flip-flopping. Some of the analysts on the radio were making the trip to the Super Bowl about themselves rather than setting the scene for the fans, letting us in on what was going on in Miami. It was more about what they got to do, what they got to drink, where they got to go to party, all that good stuff. And I had just gotten to a point where I did not want to, listen to that. And then on TV, there are two individuals that just absolutely drive me crazy. And it is Eric Mangini on my man Nick Wright's show, First Things First, and then Skip Bayless on Undisputed. It got to the point where I couldn't even watch Nick's show. And I love watching Nick. I love how much of a homer he is for Kansas City. And, he keeps it real for the most part when repping KC. And, the troll that he has with him on there, Eric Mangini, is just a disaster. He's hard to watch. He's hard to listen to. His takes are absolutely god-awful. And, then you're followed up with Skip and Shannon. Thank goodness I couldn't stand Shannon Sharp as a football player because he was a Denver Bronco. But ever since retirement, I love the dude. His analysis on Undisputed cracks me up. He's real. He's funny. And I've grown to appreciate him more as a football player because he's not lined up against my Chiefs anymore. And for the most part, he puts a clown suit on Skip Bayless every chance he gets, which is needed in America. So for the whole week, no media, no radio, no Sports Center. Every time something came on about the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I immediately turned the channel, got myself doing some other things, taking care of stuff around the house, helping Savannah with her homework, just something to occupy my time and my mind as the anxiety started to build for the actual game. And, it felt like I was playing, and it was that real. And so Sunday rolls around, and I am running front of house for my the church that I attend, my home church, Evangel Church. Shout out to Evangel. Love y'all, Pastor Jason and Pastor Jill. Amazing spiritual leaders. I'm running sound that day. So, I had to be at church on Super Bowl Sunday at about 6 o'clock, get everything set up. We start running through rehearsal, with the band at about 7, and then, with the singers around 8, just peeling the curtain back a little bit. But, something to occupy my time, and I had totally forgot that I was on sound this week, and it was a blessing in disguise. It really helped me focus, have something else to focus on outside of the game. So it's pretty much a sea of red inside church. First service goes by. Everything's going good. Pastor Jill and Pastor Jason during the welcome, give a little shout out to the Chiefs, try to pump up everybody, and just having fun as they always do as our churches. We enjoy our salvation. We live to serve, and we serve with love, and, it was just a fun time. So in between services, we had a conversation with Tracy up in audiovisual. She helps runs the slides and everything, and we're trying to come up with a way that we could get it more hype. So unbeknownst to Pastor Jason and Jill, I decided to go ahead and cue something up during the welcome as soon as the first worship song was done and they were getting ready to come up and do their welcome, and this is what it sounded like.
It's here! It's happening! Today! It is Super Bowl Sunday. The big game is about to begin in just a few hours. And our Kansas City Chiefs, to God be the glory. May His kingdom come. May His will be done. On earth as it is in heaven. I didn't know they were going to do this, but I'm in it. Let's go Chiefs! Woo-hoo! Once a cheerleader, always a cheerleader. Let me hear you, crowd. Let's go Chiefs! Get on your feet, people! Let's hear you
Do that cheer.
Hey!
That's good.
Hey! We're going to glorify the Lord today. Hey!
Oh, we're doing it all. Good job. Amen. Oh, Jill, that's funny.
So in the original language, amen means so be it.
That is true. That is true.
Amen.
And Jill is in season and out of instant in season and out of season for cheering. That's fantastic. That was good.
I tell you what, you start that music.
It just
it
goes.
just
There
all
it
comes
is.
back.
So.
You don't have pom-poms anywhere for me, do you?
No, I don't. That would be incredible.
Anyway.
So we talked to the Chiefs chaplain a while back, and they said
That's
on
right.
like playoff games, like the guys who never show up are all of a sudden like they're getting
For chapel.
they're showing up
Team
for chapel,
chapel.
full chapel today. So even if you're here like, okay, if I go to church, maybe the Chiefs will win. If you're here today, we are glad you are here, excited for that. So,
All are welcome in the house of the Lord.
Yes.
And in Chiefs' kingdom. Can I get an amen?
So I knew at that point either I was going to be in trouble after service or everything was going to be good, but I thank them both for trusting me and, rolling with it. Pastor Jill was absolutely amazing. Her energy was infectious, and the rest of the service was just outstanding. So we got the day started off right. We got a little Chiefs going on in church, with our Jesus and everything. And, everything was going good. Got home, finished up the brisket and the burnt ends, the ham and the ribs that I were doing for a little get together. And like I said on the last week's podcast, there was only a couple of people that I could watch the game with. So we had decided to go over to my man Durant's parents' house, who has a huge basement. Myself, Savannah, Durant's, his beautiful wife, and 2 children, and my brother Paco as well, his beautiful wife and his 5 children. And so we all got together downstairs, hunkered down in the bunker in the man cave down there over Durant's parents' house, and we had a little get together. I mean, we had brisket. We had burnt ends. We had chicken wings. We had ribs. We had rotel. We had scrimps. Somebody made a salad. Somebody told us that we needed some more greenery or something with everything that we had going on over there. Somebody made a salad. I don't remember who made it, but it was a good call. I put a little salad on my plate, and so along with the burnt ends and the ham and the brisket and the burnt ends and just everything that we had going on. The rotel was fire. And if your rotel is just cheese and tomatoes, you're doing it wrong. And maybe I'll give you a tip in future episodes on how to make some fire rotel. It's not just putting a couple cans of tomatoes and some Velveeta together and calling it rotel. That ain't it. So we got the spread going. Everybody's, kind of just walking around. We're kind of talking, getting close to kickoff. And then the game starts. And I can't tell you one commercial. I remember no commercials whatsoever, as we were probably pacing, back and forth in the basement. Halftime show, absolutely blur. Did not see one bit of it. It was too busy. We were focused on what we needed to do, what we needed to correct, what was going on. And so third quarter hits and Pat makes a couple mistakes. And so we need to change the mojo of what's going on. So we decided everybody was leaving. It's over. We're done. We were just trying to change the mojo. My man Paco went and started his truck. Not that he was leaving, but he went and started the truck. Duran started cleaning up all the food and everything. Everybody started making to-go plates. But we were constantly focused on the game as well, just trying to change the energy. And then Jet Chip Wasp was called. Absolutely changed everything, changed the momentum. I don't think we set down the rest of the game. Paco left the truck running the whole fourth quarter. Absolutely hilarious. Duran stayed focused on what he was doing and helping cleaning up everything. I was pacing back and forth. My daughter was right there pacing back and forth with me. She's crying, what's going on? What's the deal? And then after that play, after the Jet Chip Wasp was called and the 44 yards to Tyreek Hill, which was absolutely amazing play. We'll get into that play later on in the podcast. It was like a sigh of relief. And then when they went ahead and, a couple plays later threw the touchdown to Kelsey, you could see the momentum switch. You could see it flip. And, the 49ers had already started celebrating. Your boy John Lynch had already came down from the owner's box to come down on the sideline. He's ready to celebrate. And then bang, bang, bang. 21 points. Bang, bang, bang. Ode to Pops. 21 points unanswered. You can never count this kid out. Ever. The kid is amazing. What he was doing at 24 years old out there on that field, and to be able to call that play when he did, knowing what they needed, knowing the situation, absolutely unreal. I had never been so stressed out in my life, so much anxiety in a game that I actually wasn't playing in. There was just so much pressure. And then Mitch Holthus with the final call, and here's what it sounded like in the basement.
The game is over, and the Chiefs' kingdom has firmly planted its flag on top of football's highest summit. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions of Super Bowl 54. Final score, Kansas City 31, San Francisco 20.
Yeah! We won the Super Bowl! We won the Super Bowl! We won the Super Bowl! We the champs, baby! Woo! Yeah! We won the Super Bowl! We won the Super Bowl! We won the Super Bowl!
Such a special time. I never, ever thought in my lifetime we would be Super Bowl champions. Never, ever in my lifetime. Didn't think it was going to happen. All the heartbreak, all the just passion, and, just everything that we've invested in this team, growing up all the way through, was just an amazing feeling. And I'm so happy that I was able to experience that game, with my daughter. It was absolutely lovely. The tears we were both shedding, and she just came up. I gave her a big hug, and the first thing out of her mouth was, "I gotta do that painting for Pat now. I can't wait to get started. And Daddy, we're champions." And I was like, man, you just don't know, what this means and how this feels, after so long, and just the embrace that myself and Paco and Durant, my two brothers, that we've invested so much time and energy into the Chiefs. All the games that we've watched, all the tailgates we've done, all the barbecue parties on Sunday, just everything that, is hard to put into words. But I'm so glad. It was a special, special moment and a special feeling. And I'm so glad that I was able to experience that as well. And, it was funny because I had to turn off my phone at before kickoff because my brother-in-law decided to troll everybody. He's a Washington fan, and they haven't seen the Super Bowl in a long time, and matter of fact, they haven't been good in a long time. So he decided to troll everybody and send out a text thread and trying to crack on the Chiefs and just basically doing what Skip Bayless does, being a troll. And it was funny when I got home and I turned on my phone and I saw just all the messages, and my wife, who does not like football whatsoever, was riding dirty for the Chiefs. I mean, just clowning him. It was absolutely hilarious to see that text thread. She had no clue what was going on, but she was riding dirty for Mahomes. She was riding dirty for me. She was riding dirty for the crew, and she was riding dirty for the Chiefs. It made me feel special. It brought a smile to my face. And then when I heard that, nobody wanted to talk smack to him because, hey, he's a Washington fan. It's been a long time. But my mother-in-law, she doesn't watch football either. But I heard that was the first call she made was to talk smack to him. And so shout out to Big Bub, man. Hope Mama didn't put that smack talk on you too hard, my brother.
And what we do, we unleash a can of whoop ass on everybody. 24-0. I ain't trying to hear it. Down 10. I ain't trying to hear it. Fourth quarter, 6 and whatever left on the clock. Down 10. We got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, baby.
The competition cut.
The competition cut this week is a play that will forever be etched in Chiefs history. This is our generation's 65 toss power trap, known simply as Jet, Chip, Wasp.
Hey, don't break. It's going to be gun straight right, tight, gun straight right, 3-jet chip, Wasp, wide funnel. Gun straight, you get open. Both y'all get open. You be working.
It's 3rd and 15. Chiefs need some Mahomes magic.
It was a brilliant call, made at the perfect time by a 24-year-old in his first Super Bowl.
3rd and 15. Shotgun snap, drops back 5, got the block. He winds up, he throws a long pass, wide open Hill. Catches the ball at the 22 of San Francisco. Damn! What a play by Mahomes!
The first giant chunk of the game on 3rd down and 15. And Mahomes guns it for 44 yards.
And that's the ability of the arm that can go all the way across the field. The D-backs are not used to seeing that.
A one-of-a-kind arm and one-of-a-kind speed. The combo stings.
You can't stop us, so you best get out the way. Get used to it, 'cause we here to stay. Unstoppable, you best get out the way. Get used to it, 'cause we here to stay. Whole squad full of monsters, plus we got an MVP on the roster. Yeah, super high power offense. Yes, this Chiefs team is so awesome. AFC West, we done and conquered, and we ain't stopping till the mission's accomplished. That playoff loss, it was catastrophic. We learned from that, and now it's back to ballin'. Y'all can't stop us, too many options. Y'all can't compete with the city of fountains. Pat Mahomes out there launching rockets. A marksman, in and outside of the pocket. Take your pick, you can double the target. Receivers, looking like Randy Mosses. TD tosses, keeps the defense off us. You don't want none, better get to walking. Get out the way, this is our year. Lamar Hunt trophy, it belongs here. Speed kills, caught a pallbearer. It's over, grab me a lawn chair. Get out the way, this is our year. Lamar Hunt trophy, it belongs here. Speed kills, caught a pallbearer. It's over, it all stops here. You can't stop us, so you best get out the way. Get used to it, 'cause we here to stay. Unstoppable, you best get out the way. Get used to it, 'cause we here to stay. 'Cause we ain't taking no shorts. Got so much we fighting for. Pressing and keep moving forward. Ready for war, unstoppable force. Ain't no stopping offense looking amateur. Quarterback got him scrambling. Coordinators now panicking. The jet just ran it in. Momentum shift, here come the avalanche. This a long winter, my squad, vicious dogs in them. Never letting up. Thoroughbreds from Arrowhead get flooded by the sea of red. Boy, we ain't never scared. We ain't scared of none of you. Can't stop what's in front of us. Too fast, can't cover us. KC Chiefs is number one. My squad legendary. O-line to the secondary. Coach Reed, visionary. Taking over is necessary. My squad legendary. O-line to the secondary. Coach Reed, visionary. Parade every February.
You can't stop us, so you best get out the way. Get used to it, cause we here to stay. Unstoppable, you best get out the way. Get used to it, cause we here to stay.
Cause we ain't taking no shorts. Got so much we fighting for. Pressing and keep moving forward. Ready for war, unstoppable force. Ain't no stopping us, boy, no stopping us, boy. Shorts. Got so much we fighting for. Pressing and keep moving forward. Ready for war, unstoppable force. In it to win it, we shocking the world.
Thank you to NFL Films for that amazing sound capturing every moment of that historic play in Chiefs history. Also, big shout out to my man Below the Messenger for the Unstoppable track. That was last week's competition cut. Felt it necessary to go ahead and throw it in this week's as well, as it suited the situation. The Chiefs were absolutely unstoppable. Make sure you check out Below the Messenger's page on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and go ahead and get that Unstoppable merchandise. Check him out right there at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Below the Messenger.
The Low and Slow Spotlight.
With the Youth Arts Workshop coming up, our Low and Slow Spotlight will center on the life of Savannah Williams. For those that may not know, Savannah Williams is my daughter. She was born 3.5 months premature, weighing 1 pound 15 ounces. Prior to her being born, my wife went in for a regular checkup, and doctor immediately said, uh-oh. And we both looked at each other and said, that can't be good. And they immediately turned my wife upside down, and she had already dilated to 2, and this is at exactly 24 weeks. We were at St. Joe. They rushed her via ambulance to St. Luke's East on the plaza, and that's where we spent the next 90-some days of our life. Upon going to St. Luke's and being transferred and settled into a room for as much as we could possibly be settled, had somebody come in the room and tell us, how aggressive do you want to treat this birth? Probably need to start looking at making funeral arrangements. Now, mind you, we have no clue what in the world is going on right now. Our lives have just been turned upside down. We hadn't even got Savannah's room done, the nursery done. We haven't got nothing painted. We barely got the crib put together. Well, we're sitting in a hospital room with somebody coming in talking about you need to make funeral arrangements. Blew me away. I politely asked her the best way that I could to not come back in that room. And then after that, we met a couple other nurses on the floor that explained things a little bit better to us. And so we started celebrating individual days, individual hours, individual minutes. And we were just trying to get Savannah to stay in as long as she possibly could. We were at 24 weeks, and we knew what the situation was. But we never lost our faith. Our faith never wavered. So at 26 weeks, we were there for 2 weeks in labor and delivery and CHAMPS, trying to do everything that we could to prevent Savannah from coming early as much as we possibly could. My wife was on complete bed rest. I was still working at the station. I would go in to produce the DA show and the Tim Grunhard show, go in about 5 o'clock in the morning, would leave about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, go directly to the hospital, stay there at the hospital all day long, make sure that my wife had something to eat, make sure that she was comforted. I would go home, check on the house, and then right back to the hospital, grab a couple hours sleep, shower, and right back to 610 Sports. One morning while we were watching the Godfather Part 2, about 5 o'clock in the morning, and Savannah decided that she was ready to enter the world at exactly 26 weeks. She came out weighing 1 pound, 15 ounces. She let out a cry, and they immediately put her in an isolette and started trying to stick her transparent skin with needles and IVs and just microscopic everything. By the end of the day, she had weighed 1 pound 9 ounces. She was hooked up to a breathing machine and, trying to help her lungs. I spent the day learning what the NICU is. I never heard of it before. Never knew pregnancies weren't perfect. God chose us to go down this path so that we could be a testimony to other people. And I truly believe that. Stayed up all night, looking at the monitors, trying to learn what each bells and whistles meant as they went off. The next morning, Savannah was breathing well enough that she did not have to use the intubation anymore, and they put her on regular room oxygen, nasal cannula, which they said, may last a couple days, but, we'll probably have to intubate her again and when she poops out. But that little girl, she's strong. She's a fighter. She went straight 2 weeks on room air, and the nurses couldn't believe it. Me and my wife we celebrated every single day, whether or not Savannah grew an ounce, whether or not she grew 2 ounces, whether or not, she looked at us, she opened up her eyes. They had her hooked up to so much stuff we couldn't hold her. We could just touch her through the isolette. I was able to grab a picture of my wedding ring on Savannah's arm all the way up to her shoulder. And, if you ever listen to, DA and Nick Wright talk about it, absolutely blew them away when they saw the picture. And, we did a couple interviews on 610 back in the day about it and about everything, about everything that Savannah was going through and that we were going through as a family. So for the next 72 days, Savannah fought for her life every single day, every single hour. We had so many people praying for us, so many people loving on us, so many people covering us, who we pretty much lived at the St. Luke's NICU for 72 days. I mean, like I said, I would go to work, go produce the 2 shows, go take a shower, and then come back. Our house was broken into one night where, they stole my wife's wedding rings and a bunch of stuff because we couldn't wear jewelry in the NICU. You can't wear much of anything. You got to scrub from your hands all the way up to your shoulders, to make sure that the infants in there don't catch any viruses, since they're so susceptible to anything that can harm them. Their immune system is not built yet. They're not ready to be in the world yet. They're supposed to still be cooking for another 3 months. But for 72 days, Savannah fought her butt off, and she was able to come home. And I just remember that day, being one of the best days, outside of being able to hold her for the first time and put her in my t-shirt and let her, sleep and rest. The best day of my life was being able to actually go home with my child. I learned so much while in there. I learned about my faith, and I was playing around, and God showed me a miracle, a living, breathing, walking, talking miracle that they said wouldn't be here. There were so many instances I could go through of, they said there was a big hole in her brain, and, Children's Mercy had to come over and take a x-ray. They brought special people over because St. Luke's didn't have it, and they were all worried and everything was going crazy. And then, after we got done praying, and, Children's Mercy came, did their little x-ray and said, she's perfectly normal. There's nothing there. Her brain is fine. Then there was a hole in her heart. And same thing, that everybody was worried. They did 2 or 3 different x-rays. They showed the hole. Next thing you know, everything's perfectly fine. We were getting ready to try and take a day off. Me and my wife kind of felt guilty, but we were just going to try and get away for a day and go down to Branson, something close enough to where, we're still, 3 hours away. Got done with my shift at 6:10 and was getting ready to leave, and I got a phone call from one of the nurses saying, you guys need to get to the NICU as soon as possible. situation's not looking good. Something is wrong with Savannah's intestines. We'll talk about it when we get here. We got there and they said, we've been pulling out this fluid that looks like NyQuil. Her stomach, something was going wrong with her small and large intestines, that, she may not make it through, the rest of the day. So, we didn't go. We stayed, we prayed and, just lifted her up and covered her and, asked God to continue to show himself. And the next morning, everything was perfectly fine. So after that, after those 72 days, I've never doubted God in my life again. When people ask me, is God real? Is God not real? And I said, how can I say he's not real when he's blessed us with a walking, talking miracle? Something that we were told would not be here. And there's no explanation other than God that she's here, that she's happy, that she's healthy. She doesn't have any learning disabilities. She doesn't have any vision problems. She doesn't have any breathing problems. I'm telling you, she was born at 26 weeks, weighing 1 pound, 15 ounces. She was no bigger than my hand. So as Savannah grew older, about age 5, we started sharing testimony with her about all the people that loved on her, from the radio station and just people in general, just coming, people that we didn't even know, that were praying for, that were bringing us lunches, bringing us dinners, making sure that we were taken care of, that were doing fundraisers for us at different events. And at that time, after we shared that with her, Savannah, all she's wanted to do was give back, and she wanted to give back and help. So we started doing some stuff for March of Dimes. And instead of asking people just to donate to a page, Savannah had started making these little drawings and little paintings with her little watercolors and everything. And people started buying them. And people started buying them and asking for them and asking for more. So we would take all those proceeds from the artwork that she had collected and donate them to the March of Dimes. So we did that for a couple years. And Savannah wanted to continue to do it. So I believe it was 2015. She had did a Wiz themed collection. The Wiz, one of her favorite movies of all time. Absolute classic. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. Much better than The Wizard of Oz, I promise you. So she had did a Wiz themed collection. And we had partnered with my man Jesse Barnes, who at the time was at the Bruce R. Watkins Cultural Heritage Center. And we did a little art showing. Savannah was donating the proceeds from the artwork that day to the Rescue Me Foundation that helps with a Rwandan orphanage, help the children and the parents get insurance. The love for that, the love that she received for that showing was amazing. Janae Osterhelt, love you. Did a story in the Kansas City Star at the time called Art for Africa. Janae is one of her biggest supporters to this day. Tara Hall did a story on Channel 41 as well. And Savannah raised over $1,000 that day that she donated every bit of it to the Rescue Me Foundation for the children in Rwanda. So we continue to do the art showings, and Savannah continued to help more and more organizations. There is a list of them on angelhandsart.com of all the different organizations that she's helped to this point. In 2017, when we saw that her passion wasn't going away, that she only wanted to help more and more people, we decided that we probably need to go ahead and make this a 501c3. So we talked to Savannah, and in February of that month, we made Angel Hands Art Foundation a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Later on that year, we held our very first Angel Hands Art Paintings with a Purpose benefit gala at the Bruce R. Watkins Cultural Center. Savannah was able to raise over $1,000 for St. Jude's Hospital. The support began to get bigger and bigger and bigger. In 2018, she donated over $1,000 to the Third and Long Foundation from her benefit gala. And then this past year, 2019, she raised over $2,000. That's right, $2,000 from her artwork was raised and donated to the Kansas City Chiefs ambassadors to go to Camp Quality so that kids that are diagnosed with cancer can go to a summer camp, have some semblance of a normal life. Meanwhile, she wanted to do something else for the kids as well. We were doing the galas, and so 2018, around spring break, we knew that there were some kids in our community that don't get to go on spring break. They're here at home due to whatever circumstances. And so Savannah wanted to expose them to the arts as more and more arts are cut out of our public school system. So Savannah wanted to make sure that they were exposed to the arts. So the foundation came up with a day to where the kids could come in and get a free hot breakfast, get a hot lunch, and then they could choose a class that they wanted to go to for the day, whether it be painting, sketching, singing, or dancing. And so, the very first one, I think we ended up with about, I want to say a little over 40 kids on the very first one in 2018, the very first youth arts workshop. Well, this year we're in year number 3 of the Angel Hands Art Foundation Youth Arts Workshop. The registration is open right now. You can register online at angelhandsart.com. Just click the link that you see for the Youth Arts Workshop tab. Click that flyer. Go ahead and get registered. This year is going to be absolutely amazing, as once again it is free for children in 4th through 8th grade for the students. And this year we got some changes. We've added a class, which I'm extremely excited about. You heard the mixed plate intro created by Brandon Shockley, one of the dopest producers in Kansas City. I'm not even going to label him as just a Christian hip-hop artist. He is one of the dopest producers in Kansas City. He is one of Savannah's biggest supporters. Him, my brother Reese Nichols, my brother Below the Messenger, and my man A Ward. They are some of Savannah's biggest supporters. And this year, they're going to be doing a music production class, and I can't wait to see what it looks like. Can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to see what they create. But it's just going to be awesome. We also have Jessica Pugh, who taught last year one of the hip-hop classes, the hip-hop dance classes. She's going to be teaching a dance class again this year. We got the Kansas City Friends of Alvin Ailey. They're going to be teaching a dance class this year, which is blessed. We're blessed to have them. We're so grateful and thankful. We have the amazing Linnell Diggs from Diggs Customs, one of the dopest artists in Kansas City. I mean, whether it's paint, you name it, my brother can do it. He is the one that helped guide Savannah. He's been teaching Savannah some different techniques. And if you saw the Patrick Mahomes paintings that Savannah did, he kind of helped walk her through that, talk her through that, come up with some different ideas on that. So Mr. Linnell Diggs, he is going to be teaching an art class. And my brother Corey Reed from Heart Shaped Clothing, he has developed logos for Savannah as well. He actually has developed the Youth Arts Workshop logo for Savannah. One of the most creative people that I've ever met. I love this dude. I mean, he is absolutely amazing. He is going to be teaching a sketching design class. So we'll have 2 dance classes. We'll have the sketching and design class. We'll have the painting class with Mr. Diggs, and then we'll have the music production class with Reese Nichols, Below the Messenger, and my man B Shock. So all you have to do to register is go to angelhandsart.com right now. Spots are filling up fast. I'm telling you, spots are filling up fast. Now, we may have to cut it off. We don't want to, so make sure that you get it done now. Just go to angelhandsart.com, click on that Youth Arts Workshop tab, and then there is the registration form right there. It is absolutely free. There is no cost to you. All you have to do is come in, make sure that you register your child on the day of. Come in, get them signed in. You can sit there and eat breakfast with them if you want. The kids will be learning a little bit more about Savannah's story, some of what I've shared with you here, the reason behind Angel Hands Art Foundation. Then they will go into the first part of the class. We'll break after a little bit and have a catered lunch from BDubs Barbecue and Catering. After that, we'll go into the second part of the day, go into the second part of the classes. We'll, make sure the kids get water and snacks as well. And at the end of the day, we're going to meet at the big stage. And all the children are going to be able to show you, as the parents are let back in at around 3:30. They're going to be able to show you what they've learned at the Youth Arts Workshop, whether it be the music production class, what they wrote, what they've written, what they're going to perform, the dance classes, whatever style of dance that they've learned, I'm pretty sure that they will perform. And the art classes, they will be able to feature their art, show their art. And this year's really cool. The art that the children create in the painting class and the sketching and design class is going to be donated to the Veterans Community Project, the tiny houses off Truce. So we're going to make sure that every veteran gets a piece of art from the kids at the Youth Arts Workshop. So whatever they create, that's going to go into those tiny houses for the Veterans Community Project. That partnership is a blessing. So that's going to be really, really cool. There's also, at lunch, we got something new this year, as the Just Imagine troupe from Starlight Theater is going to come out and perform for the children. So that was one of the feedbacks that we got from the last couple of years, as we've been doing some of the dance classes and theatrical and this and that, is that a lot of our kids haven't been exposed to plays, in actual theater, whether it be the Coterie Theater or something like that. They haven't seen those. And so we just wanted to bring them some more visual arts, expose them to something that they may not be able to see in school. That schools are so limited now with everything that they've cut, that what are they really teaching our children, basically? What are they exposing them to? Are they telling them just, paint a line here and paint a line there, and that's your art class? So we just wanted to follow Savannah's vision and expose them to as much as we possibly could with the arts. So make sure that you go do that now. Make sure that you get it registered. angelhandsart.com, the Youth Arts Workshop. It is going to be March 21st at Evangel Church, 1414 East 103rd. It is going to be from 8 o'clock a.m. to 4 p.m., and the cost is absolutely free. All you need to do is go register. And like I said, the spots are filling up fast, so please register now.
The Money Muscle Tip of the Week.
All right, your Money Muscle Tip of the Week is cheese and tomatoes is not dip. That is not Rotel. You need to be more creative. You need to do something to jazz it up. Has to be something more than a can of tomatoes and a block of Velveeta. Don't nobody got time for that. So saute you a little onion. Shred you a little seasoned chicken in some fajita seasoning, some taco seasoning, some kind of seasoning. Throw that in there. Throw you some chopped up jalapenos. Heck, even crumble up you some ground turkey or some ground beef, season it up in some bacon grease, maybe a little taco seasoning, something like that. Give it some flavor. Give it some viscosity. Give it something that's going to set it over the edge. Not just a can of tomatoes and some cheese. I could give you all the goodies, but I'm going to save that for another time. But another little insider tip, throw in a different kind of cheese. That's your Money Muscle Tip of the Week.
The burnt offerings.
This week's burnt offerings come from Psalms 118 and 24. This is a day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Have fun in your salvation. Have fun in this life that God has given you. There is no greater joy than knowing that God has saved me, that he's given me the grace, that he's given me mercy, and my day can't get any better. On my worst day, I take solace in the fact that I know that he loves me more than I can ever love him. So I'm going to enjoy this life. I'm going to enjoy my salvation. I am going to do what he has asked me to do. I love y'all. Remember, make a difference, be a blessing, and change the world. That's this week's burnt offerings.
The burnt intern.
And that will wrap it up for episode 3 of the Mixed Plate Podcast and the home of the champs. Savannah, wrap it up for us.
Thank you for listening to episode 3 of the Mixed Plate Podcast. Thank you to Evangel Church, NFL Films, and Below the Messenger for use of their sound. Make sure to download, subscribe, and rate on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at the Mixed Plate Pod. The Chiefs are Super Bowl champs, and Pat, I'm working on your painting. Stay tuned for episode 4 because you don't want to miss it.
Mixed Plate. Yeah. Talk sports, talk life, talk God. That's right. Talk sports, talk life, talk God. That's right. Yeah. Cooking up facts about that barbecue. Hey, beat up, got that vibe. This podcast for you.
It's the Mixed Plate Podcast.